My name is Prasad Kulkarni. I'm a Vice President of Product Development at Oracle, responsible for Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service, Enterprise Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service, Enterprise Planning Platform, On-Prem Planning, Calc Manager, etc. I have my colleagues here. Manish Daga, he actually has flown here from India, but he is responsible for mainly ePBCS. So some of you guys may be using ePBCS and project financial planning in the on-prem. We have Mark Rinaldi, who's a product manager, and Shankar Vishwanath. I think you probably have seen him many years presenting this session, and I heard that you guys tired, so he put me on here. So I'm just kidding. So before we start, I'd like to know how many people have attended yesterday's Sunday symposium session. Okay, so probably 50%. So some of you have not seen this presentation, and we are not part of that. I'd like to poll and find out information about your implementations, etc. So how many are actually using planning on-prem? Okay. How many are on cloud? Okay, all right. So let me ask you a question about how many of you are actually using planning 11.2.1.2.1. Okay, all right. How about 9.3.1? Good. Anybody in 3.1? No, I'm just kidding. So anybody on 11.2.1. 2.2? 2.3? Okay, that's quite some. And I'm assuming that everybody else is on 2.4. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's what I thought. That's what the poll we got yesterday also, that majority of our customers who are on-prem are on 2.4. There are some of them are on 2.3 and very few on 2.2. Nobody's on 2.1, maybe except few exceptions. I'm sure you have a plan to go to latest version. Anyway, so let's talk about what's new and coming in planning. So again, this is a safe harbor statement. This is we are basically expected to show this to everybody in every session. So I'm sure by now, any Oracle presentation you have gone to, we have seen this many times, and you probably know this by heart. But generally, this means is that some of those plans which we present here are flexible. Sometimes we have to change those plans, but what I'm going to present is what right now is our thought process of this is what we're going to deliver to you. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a product recap. A lot of you guys already know this, but just to see where how we have got here, what kind of journey we have taken together. I would like to really thank you for being part of this journey. There are so many customers are using the product, so I just wanted to recap so that we can look back and see what we have accomplished together. Then I'm going to talk about the plan features and then Q&A. By the way, we have plenty of time. If you guys want to ask questions, stop me in the middle. That's okay. We can talk about it today. Yesterday we were in rush, so we didn't allow people to ask questions. We asked them to ask the question at the end. But today it's okay. You can stop me anytime you want. Have a question. I'll try to answer them as many as possible. Okay, so if you see the graph here, I mean, again, we just started showing the journey from 9.3.1. How many people actually have started the journey way back in planning 1.0, 2.0, 3.1? Okay, and 9.3.1. Okay, so there is a path before that, 9.3.1. It's all started in 2000 when we released planning 1.0. And since then, our journey has been phenomenal. So if you look at the number of, we've been actually releasing every year pretty much since then. Every year a major release. We did some minor releases in between, and we feel really privileged and blessed to be part of this journey, be able to keep this product going for so long, since 2000, today is 2017, 17 years. And we have architected this product many times. So we started out with product in Windows, then we migrated to Java, we had a desktop, we replaced that with web, all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is almost rewritten 2 or 3 times over a period of time, but we really again like to thank all of you to be part of this journey with us and supporting us to make this product successful. Without your support, obviously, we will not be here, will not be so successful. And this is actually how we've seen the growth of this product over a period of time. Now, if you look at there are about more than 5,000 global customers we have today using Hyperion Planning on-prem. And again, I'm sure some of your names are here in this logo, some of you are not. There is not just because we just ran out of space. But it's like you name any industry, you name any kind of customer who you can think about, they're using Hyperion Planning. It's pervasive everywhere, everybody uses it. And again, it's a testament, like this room is completely filled with all of you, is again the reason why we're here. So it's a very successful product. It's used by a lot of customers, a lot of users on it, and majority of the customers are on latest version, which is great. That means that it's not a product which has been implemented like 5 years back and it's sitting there without anybody's using it. It's actually live, actively used by a lot of customers, and they upgrade it. So that's a good thing. And just to summarize, the last release we actually had on this product was about 2 years back. And this release, I'm not going to just read through all this for you, but just the iterative point here that this release of 11.1.2.4 was a phenomenal release. It was the biggest release we ever had. And I think this is so far the biggest release we had. I mean, we haven't had any bigger release than this after we released 2.4. And it's like so many features we added, and we have matured the product so much that I mean, there are so many customers come and talk to us and then tell us the wonderful stories about how they're using it, why they like it, etc. Obviously, there are challenges in terms of some of the bugs are there, some enhancement they're looking for to get it fixed. We constantly work on that, but I think the amount of features we added, the investment we made on this product to release so many features is phenomenal. So one of the major feature I would like to bring out to your attention here is the grid. I mean, those people who started with 3.1, 4.1, 4.0 or 9.3.1 or for that matter 11.2.1, when they actually migrated to 2.0, or rather, 2.0 means to 2.2 version, I think they got a big shock there. And the reason for that was the grid performance for smaller grid was regressed in terms of the speed. And the reason, I'll explain it to a little bit detail why it happened. Some of you probably heard it yesterday, so apologize for the repeat, but there are a lot more people who were not there yesterday. So what happened is, in the early days, we used a technology called Java Server Page to build our grids. And again, all of you know the reason why you wanted to choose Hyperion Planning is because you wanted to get out of Excel hell, and you wanted to have web interface, and that worked very well. The slight challenge we had back in those days, technology-wise, is that the size of the grid could not be greater than 5,000 cells. If you try to create a grid bigger than 5,000 cells,
it used to take a lot longer to render it, just to load the grid. Once it was loaded, then obviously it was faster, but it was taking like 30 seconds for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, depending on the size. And the reason for that was the way we were constructing grid was we were completely constructing the grid on the server in terms of HTML and then sending it over the wire to the client. Again, back in those days, the speed of the connectivity was not that high. The size of the HTML was in few hundred megs. So by the time it gets downloaded on your client and you render it, it was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then we never recommended customers to go more than 5,000 cells. And some of you actually came back and told us, you know what, it's good. The product is so great. We take a lot of, we use it a lot. And can you actually do something to allow us to increase the size of the grid so we can see a large number of data cells? Because our users want to work with large number of data cells because they come from Excel and they actually do they look at the large number of data cells. So we took that feedback, and when we were part of Oracle, and Oracle has this fantastic technology called Application Development Framework. Acronym is called ADF, and it's a really fantastic technology. The idea is that actually you develop this UI widgets through components, and then a lot of that cool UI we developed, we were able to develop it with so fast and with so many little resources because the components were available to us. And then the other thing which we looked at and actually doing is like, how do we increase the size of the grid? So what we did is, you know what, let's say fetch the grid, put it in the memory, keep it on the server, and then send the data back. Instead of sending the HTML back, just send the data back to the client. And that worked fantastic because instead of now 5,000 cells, we could go to 100,000 cells or 150,000 cells. And then that grid was able to load it. 150,000 cells could take like 5 minutes to load on the older grid. Now it could load into, let's say, 15 seconds or 30 seconds, because all we were doing was just sending the data back, not the HTML tags, not the actual rendering portion of the grid, because we were using the component on the client to actually do the rendering. Now what happened with that is it all worked fine. There are a lot of customers who are happy, they love, but there are certain customers, section of customers, they felt that, okay, we don't have that kind of big grid requirement. Our grids are smaller, but that small grid needs to work fast, because in this whole architecture, what was happening is anytime you want to do some activity, whether you're doing tabbing in, tabbing out, you're changing cell, you're scrolling down, everything has to go to server. There's a technology called Ajax. We used to go back to a server, fetch the data, bring it back in the client, and some of the users, they didn't like it. They say, okay, it's slow, because by the time you say scrolling, I see the scrolling message. It's not instantaneous how it used to be. And some of you told us, yeah, we really don't care about the large grids. And some of you told us it's fantastic. Some of you actually started with to-do. They didn't even know that this was existed, so they were completely happy. So we had all kinds of feedback. We had a feedback where some customers were not really happy because of the change we did. Some customers were happy because we were satisfying their requirements of large grids. And some customers, they really didn't care because they never saw how the grid was before, because they started the journey with 2.2. But we wanted to take care of our existing customers who actually started our journey back in older days. So what we did is we actually yet again re-implement the grid. But this time what we did is we actually said, you know what, we probably should marry the old technology with the new technology conceptually, and then and come up with a grid which actually still sends only the data back to the client instead of the entire HTML, but the interaction happens on the client with the component, and you don't have to go back to the server for any interaction. And that's what we did. And again, you might be using it, or you may not be using it. So before I actually talk a little further, I'd like to also ask a question. How many of you have switched to SUI, Simplified User Interface? Okay, only 3. Okay, and how many of you using the standard interface through Workspace? All of it, right? So what I'm talking about is only available in the SUI. So just so you know, the standard interface which you are using actually has the challenges I'm describing to you. So you will see the scrolling issue, you will see the tabbing issue, you will see the sluggishness of the grid. If you wanted the instantaneous grid like Excel, where Excel you actually just tab out and then things just work. You can do tab forward, you can do tab backward, you can do scrolling. All that can be done instantaneously without any lag. We have that grid available in 2.4. I recommend you to actually try the simplified user interface because that's our future. That's how we are actually going with all our products, not just Hyperion products, but Oracle products. Any product which you see, whether it's a on-prem version, whether it's a PeopleSoft, whether it's a e-business suite, or a cloud version, which is PBCS, or financials, or HCM, or Sales Cloud, everybody using the same simplified user interface. So I highly recommend you to try it out. If you have any challenges, obviously we'll be happy to take a feedback on that. Mark, you have some?
How many of you are even considering switching to the simplified user interface in the next 3 to 6 months? Raise it higher. All right, so consider it. Okay, it's good to know.
Okay. Yeah, and again, like Workspace, yes.
We would be on it when we implemented once before, but we had an issue with our infrastructure and still can't resolve it.
An infrastructure issue?
Our infrastructure interacting with the platform.
I think we should talk after this session to understand what challenges we have. Maybe we'll be able to help you and see how we can solve that. And again, sorry, go ahead.
Are you going to be pushing anything to on-prem to allow workforce planning apps to use this?
Yeah, so that is on the roadmap, yes. It's coming in the slides, so. Any other question? Okay, so and again, like if you the reason I'm saying is because it's like it's instantaneous as fast. And then before I actually go further, let me just do a demo of that. What does that mean, right? So anybody familiar with this? Okay, this is how the simplified user interface looks, by the way. Oh, sorry. Now how to. Right, so again, sorry, let me repeat this question, but you were not able to see the screen before. So is anybody seen this? This is the simplified user interface. The way this looks, again, this is how it looks in cloud, but you can actually make it look like this, exactly like this on-prem. There are no differences. There might be slight differences here. But the whole idea is that this actually is your navigation flow icons. And the good part about this is that you actually can completely customize this as per your end user requirement. So right now I'm logged in as an administrator, so I can see everything which I have access to, which is pretty much everything. But if you want to actually release this to your end user, and then your end user you would like to have them only have access to, let's say, some input form, some reports, and some of the rules they would like to run, you can actually pretty much tailor that flow. You can create different workflows and then assign the security to that user or groups of the user. And then when they come in, they just see those screens and they just enter the data and they get out of the system. That's the general end user flow which we're talking about. Obviously, the power user can come in and then they can do whatever they want. So again, there are multiple aspects to it here. So I'm just going to show you here that actually there's no data here. Sorry. Sorry? Sales US. Oh, that's currency. Yeah. Yeah, so these kind of dashboards comes out of the box. You don't have to, I mean, if you're using third-party dashboard tools, if you're using OBI, that's fantastic. But sometimes you want to just have your dashboards, you have your flows built out of the box, you can build it. And look at this is very similar to how Excel feel like. So this entire thing can be thought about as a workbook. These are the different tabs, which is a worksheet, and you can split your data here as either data entry form, or you can actually show different graphs, charts, and then you can associate a report here. So user can actually go through these tabs as a flow. You can say you go and enter data for revenue, then do income statement, rolling forecast. Any way, which way you want them to go through the flow. So there is not a real good reason why you should use task list, because this actually gives much more visual flow for that, right? So, yes. So the question is, if I understand correctly, that you go to process management, you approve, and then from there you go to the data entry form submission. Is that what you're saying? Simplified interface. I don't think we have that, Shankar. Yeah, we have the approval screen, but we don't have ability to go to the form approval, go to the simplified to the data entry form as a mechanism to go there. But if you're interested in having that functionality, feel free to log as an enhancement request. We'll be happy to consider that. So the other aspect I want to just show here is let me go back to the standard forms here. Actually, you know what? Let me use the functionality available here. So here, actually, you can put some announcements. Some of the forms we use, you can actually mark this as favorites, and we remember some of the forms you actually click as the most recent. So if you look at like income statement, driver basis, all of those we actually had clicked before. So I'm going to just show not this one. Is that expense revenue? Yeah. No, I think I just wanted to go to the form. Yeah. Enter revenue. Yeah. So here, I just wanted to show how clean it is. It looks like Excel, and we implemented Excel-like features here. So I can pretty much say 100, and then just use this drag function and then move it here. So I can just put 100 each in like Excel, how you would do in Excel. Now, notice that we updated quarter Q1, like the spreading works, but also we updated your total revenue on the fly. This is available as an auto-calc feature, auto-save feature. So you don't have to save, you don't have to run business rule, it gets automatically calculated for you. Now, if I want to actually just use this $100 and then spread it down, or actually use it down, it does that too. So I mean, you can see that how responsive and how fast it is. Everything is done on the fly. Everything is calculated on the fly. You don't have to have that notion. Okay, my rule is taking a long time. How do I optimize my rule? I mean, there's a tremendous work is gone in here to make this so fast, just like Excel. And again, the reason why we want to do it is because traditionally 90% of our users come from Excel, and they're asking us to give a interface closer to Excel, minus the Excel issues, which is broken formulas, really difficult to consolidate, etc., etc. So.
Sorry, am I missing something? Total revenue is 200?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not added exactly. So. Yeah, there might be some problem in the formula here. Yeah, okay. So, going back to the presentation. Yep. No, that's already available in PS. I mean, there's some aspect of that is already available in on-prem PS4 2.4. It's a simplified. If you use simplified interface, you will get that features. Oh yeah, so some of those are cloud right now, and then I'll talk about they're coming in the on-prem world. Yes, the hierarchical nature of the folders, and then separating the composite forms versus simplified form. That's what you're talking about, right? Right. I mean that's a part of the 11.2. So let me just hold out that thought. Yeah. Any other question? Okay, so that's, I mean, again, the reason I wanted to bring to your attention is that this is available to you. If you want to take advantage, feel free to take advantage. If you're happy with standard interface, yeah, we'll continue to support that. It's completely up to you. Now, just another thing which we have delivered so far, I just wanted to lay out that for you guys, is that so far we have delivered 17 PSUs. On 2.4 itself, we actually have delivered 8 PSUs, and 2.3.6 and 2.2.3, obviously, because number of customers are less on 2.2, very few on 2.3, and majority of them are 2.4. So whatever your representation you are seeing here in this room is actually also a representation we see across the board when we get the customer logs, bugs, and enhancement. And we have given about 56 PSCs based on some specific needs from customers, something they wanted really to get fixed. So again, we are constantly making fixes. Somehow you might feel that, okay, I'm not getting my features I have logged in. It's just that sometimes it takes time. Sometimes even though it's in the cloud, bring it into the on-prem takes a lot of time because again, if you look at the way cloud works, is life is much easier for us in some sense because we have to support only one platform, and we don't have to worry about too many permutation combinations. But when we talk about on-prem, we have to worry about DB2, we have to worry about SQL Server, apart from Oracle and the other technologies. So it just takes a little bit longer for us to bring those features in the on-prem, but we are working on to bring you those features. So planned features, let's talk about it. So again, what we are announcing here, again, this is probably a repetition for some of you who attended math session yesterday or our session yesterday, but there's a lot of people who were not yesterday attended this session. So what we are saying is that we are going to support, have a premier support for all your on-prem products to 2030. So you don't have to worry about what's going to happen after 2018 or 2020. This is Oracle-wide. This is not just Hyperion. Any product, whether it's a PeopleSoft, e-business suite, we are going to continue to support to 2030. So if you have a plan to stay on-prem,
We like you to go to cloud, but if you have a plan to stay on-prem for whatever reason, we respect that, and we'll continue to support you to 2030. So again, if you just talked about it, this is a corporate strategy. It's a completely customer-driven, based on customer feedback, not necessarily market-driven. And then again, it's like the way we are going about this is having a features which are smaller, nimbler, every quarter kind of release kind of scenarios. Yes.
Your previous slide showed that it's going to be a premium support. Is it in the zero support? Are you going to support it on-premise, or have to be a premium support?
So what we are saying is that if you're on the 11.1.2 release code line, which includes 2.0, 2.3, 2.4, 2.4, and is your actually will be you are part of the premier support, and we'll support you to 2030. Yes.
You have that next slide.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be.
11.2 that has premier support.
Not premier, premium. Not premier, premium, because it's a different premium.
Yeah.
Not premier.
That's the next slide on that had.
Yeah. So if you look at if you want to read out there is a definitely all spelled out in terms of there is a premier support, extended support, sustaining support, and looks like there is a premium support. All that is actually spelled out in this document. Yeah, that's probably a typo. Typo. Yeah. All right. So, sorry. Go ahead.
Just 2 slides before. What's the difference between market and customer in what's driving the strategy?
Okay, so what's the difference between market and customer? So if you look at the market in general, in Oracle market for Hyperion products or any other products that are mostly our customers, net new business is in the cloud. We don't sell anything in on-prem anymore. So that's our market. Market going forward is all about cloud. But not everybody in this room is actually cloud ready, and they want to continue to stay on-prem for whatever reason, and that's the customer demand, and that's what we are saying. Okay, if you want to stay there, we don't have a problem. We'll support you till 2030. By then, I think most of us will retire. But so I think that's where Oracle is saying that we value your journey with us. We value your what you stayed with us, and then it's our we will support you. Even the market wise, we don't see anybody going to on-prem going forward, right? And again, 5 years from now, everybody will decide to go from cloud to on-prem. Then Oracle's market strategy may change. We don't know, but who knows what market decides. So here again, it's a little more. If you look at is the 11.1.2, the premier support for 2.3 it ends in 2018. For 2.4 it goes all the way to 2021. But we are actually announcing a new release called 11.2, which is going to go all the way to 2030. No, it's going out, and I'll cover what's in that release. So this is basically the on-premise releases. So 11.1.2.3. So what we are saying is your S1 defects fixing only until May 2018. So if you're on PS1, unfortunately you are out of support, so we'll not be able to support any defects for you. If you're 2.2, you're in the similar situation. If you're 2.3, you have until May 2018 to go to 2.4. So that you actually can, we can basically support it to 2021. But I think by early 2019, we are coming out with 11.2 release. And this release is, by the way, if you're on 2.4, it will be it will be in place patch like release. So you don't have to
come up with a huge budget to upgrade the release to have hardware upgrade. I mean, if you have to hardware upgrade, then that's a different story. But you don't have to actually carve out a long process and long cycle to do the upgrade, because we will be doing an in-place upgrade. So this 11.2 will be a just like whatever you have, we'll just upgrade by putting a patch on top of it. Something similar to that. Yes. Yeah, so if you hold on to that, it's covered in the next slide, please. So question was, what are your plans to do defect fixes and enhancements? So I'll cover that in a second. Yes? Yes, EPMA is going to be available in 11.2. Yes, everything which is available on-prem is going to be available on-prem. So this is the plan, yes. But EPMA is not available on cloud. There's no plan to get that. Yeah, Tracy? Yeah, so again, those. So the question is, the certain features which don't work with EPMA, especially in the simplified user, will they be supported? And I think we'll have to take those case by case basis. It depends on the customer demand and customer requirement. Okay, so this is a plan. So we are going to have a quarterly cadence for our PSUs. So we'll capture bugs which we actually already fixed in cloud, or bugs which we only going to fix in on-prem because they are not relevant in the cloud. Bundle them up and release as a PSU. And appropriately, we'll probably pick up enhancements along the way, whatever makes sense, and then bundle them up and then release it as PSUs. PSCs, again, it's going to be based on a case-by-case basis, what customer demands and whatever works. So there's no difference in how we handle PSCs. Or however we've been handling PSCs in the past, we'll continue to handle that. So what is planned? So again, there are certain customers who have looked at our cloud. They played with it. Some of them are actually hybrid. Some applications they have put in the cloud, and they like to, for some reason, they would like to keep certain applications in-house. Especially sometimes they actually keep the corporate app in-house, and then satellite apps they actually move it to the cloud. They are actually asking us to have some of those capabilities which are in the cloud to bring back into the on-prem, because they would like to take benefit of that on the on-prem applications. For example, the first one is a hybrid support, right? Excel formula in the form. What does that mean? Basically, we call that as a smart form. Now, smart form is the way it works is that you actually can start out as an ad hoc. How many people know, by the way, smart form is? Okay, few of those. So the way it works is basically that you can start as an ad hoc analysis. You create a form from the ad hoc, like as if you are creating you're going to save that as ad hoc slice, smart slice we used to call that before. But what we allow you to do is you can write your Excel formula like any Excel formula, like you can write a depreciation, you can write NPV, IRR, you can write any you can have conditional checking there. Those Excel formulas actually those are embedded as part of the form. We store it on the server, and the good part about that is actually when you open up in Excel, we make sure they're reconverted back to Excel formula. So if you have suppressed missing data, suppressed missing block, you have data which is suppressed because of security, we rewrite that Excel formula on the fly so that you don't get the Excel broken formulas. So that's one good part about it. The other good part about it is that you can open the exact same form on the web, and we actually use a different technology to do the calculation on the web. and I just talked about that we re-return the web, and that takes the advantage of that. So basically what it means is that whether you open Smart View or open the web form, the calculation happens on the client. It does not even go to the server. So everything you actually change is instantaneously changed on the client, calculated, and when you like it, you can just submit it. So again, we're trying to address some of the requirements coming from customers who basically are saying that we like the instantaneous results given to our users. Like to see instantaneous results. They would like to see everything just calculated right there rather than saving it, running the business rule, and then bringing the data back. So that's one aspect. The second is sandbox. We heard this requirement for so many years. We finally got to implement it. It's basically allows you to create unlimited number of versions. You can create pretty much, you can take any form and then say, okay, I want to create a sandbox of that, work on that. Only the data which is you change is saved. Nobody else can see it. Other people will still continue to see the old data. When you feel, okay, this is the data I like to submit it, you submit it, and then everybody gets to see your data. So basically, pretty much like any standard sandbox functionality, it works. And it's available in the cloud, and we are just going to get it in the on-prem version because customers are asking for it.
Will you share your sandbox with somebody else without submitting?
Right now, we don't have that capability to share the sandbox without submitting. We are looking at enhancing it to do the collaboration on sandboxing, but honestly, we haven't heard a lot of customers asking for it yet. Okay, valid intersection. Anybody knows what valid intersection is? Again, so this comes predominantly from public sector customers and higher ed customers. And the reason they like this is because most of the time they actually have a very complex dimensional model. They have, whenever they're actually doing a employee-based salary planning, it's generally commercial world. It's very easy. We just say, okay, what is the employee salary? What is benefits? You calculate the total cost for to the company. What is a futa suta, and then you're done. They're actually, if you have $100,000 in employee salary, they actually have to figure out how the salary gets funded. So they actually say, okay, some endowment is funding 10% of that salary, and somebody else's endowment is funding 20% of the salary. So they actually have to allocate the fund, and then they also have to say which project the employee is going to work on. So there is a complex relationship between different dimensions they have to establish, and they have like huge number of funds, huge number of projects, and they like to make sure that whatever fund you choose, only appropriate projects get selected. Wherever you choose appropriate project, only appropriate employees get selected. Otherwise, you get a very people can make mistakes in entering data. It's pretty obvious, but I think it's much exasperate much more in higher ed scenarios. So we added that functionality again in the cloud. It's available. You can use it today, but we are going to take it back and put it in the on-prem version. So that's valid intersection, sandbox, smart push. How many people use actually ASO Cube here? Okay, and how many of you actually use any kind of partitioning to move data between BSO, ASO? I believe that's fantastic, right? It just works and no issues. Okay, so the purpose of Smart Push is actually solve some of the partitioning related issues. What it allows you to do is you actually, when you save the data into a BSO Cube, you can actually run a Smart Push, which is a data map, but filter data map. Whatever is on the UI, it gets transferred automatically to ASO Cube using the mapping on save. Whenever you save the form, it gets like you run a business rule to calculate it. You also run the Smart Push to move the data from BSO to ASO. And you remember in the simplified user interface, I was showing two different charts in one grid, one chart. So it's perfectly possible for you to have one chart or one grid coming from BSO cube, another chart from ASO cube, to give the user ability to, anytime he makes change and submit it, he sees the total calculated aggregated right away in ASO cube. So that smart push actually allows you to do that. And it's very popular feature in PBCS. I mean, again, we track all the usage of all the features, people use it, customer use it. I would say this is one of the top feature where people actually leverage ASO cube a lot in the PBCS world, and then they use the smart push technology to move data from BSO to ASO. So that, again, we will probably be looking to move it to on-prem customers so that they can take advantage of that. Any questions so far? Yes? Yes, so right now our strategy is to, I mean, this is the same strategy we have in the cloud. We have actually have these all features available only in the simplified user interface. And when we port it back, we will be porting it back only to simplified user interface. Unfortunately, there is, we don't have a strategy to put this in the standard interface. The question is, in 11.2.0, will you have a classic S-base, you said? Oh yeah, we call standard interface. Yes, so we are not deprecating standard interface. We are deprecating standard interface in PBCS by end of the year, which probably is not relevant here because most of you are on-prem. But in the on-prem version, we don't have any plan to deprecate standard interface. Okay, so hybrid support. So how many guys know hybrid S-base? Okay. Yeah, so some of you might have tried to use it on-prem, and some of you might be even using it. I know anecdotally some partners enable it, but actually Hyperion Planning do not support hybrid S-base on-prem. We do not support it. If you get into some kind of issue, Oracle support will tell you to actually disable that because it's the version of S-base which is out there lacks a lot of features which are required for Hyperion Planning to work. Attribute support, I mean, you can get a number of reasons why it doesn't support. And we just really didn't want to support S-base only with limited use of what S-base is rolled out. So we worked with S-base team and actually have come to a point where everything which works in planning, including calculation script, everything will just work in hybrid. So we are actually releasing that version of hybrid or enabling hybrid S-base for our cloud customers by end of the year. And by 11.2.0, we'll actually be able to support hybrid S-base for on-prem customers as well. Now, some of the benefits, it's obvious some of you have already know this, but some people who don't know this, the obvious advantage of hybrid is it allows you to create the number of blocks to get down. So in our testing, we have seen, in one instance, we've seen 17 million blocks reduced to 340,000 blocks. And because of that, we actually saw the actual page size of S-base being reduced from 2.5 gig to a few hundred meg. So it has tremendous benefits if you think about it. The size, because the size is reduced, because the number of blocks is reduced, everything is calculated instantaneously, your backup restore procedure is faster, you don't have to worry about a lot of things. So it's a totally fantastic technology. Yes? Yeah, that's the plan. So all the functionality which works today in regular S-base will be able to work on hybrid when it's released. Yes. Yes.
We have a little hybrid system, and the queries are not great, right? Like the queries are equal performance. Do you know if they're working on that, or?
So we have to look at the specific use case, but
the version which is on-prem, and since then we have got about 16 versions, more versions from Essbase, working with them for last year and a half to improve a lot of capabilities. Query performance is one of that. They're also looking at actually adding aggregate views in hybrid, something similar to ASO Cube. No promise, but they're looking at that. There are other techniques people actually employed to improve the performance by adding more members in the hierarchy and things like that. We can get all details. But yes, the idea is to have that hybrid. True hybrid means you get the ASO performance with BSO characteristics. Yes, that's the goal. Okay, so I think we have only like 7 minutes left. Any questions? And you can ask any questions, because if you have any question related to planning or anything related to planning domain, we have Brain in the room here. We are working on that. I don't know the details yet, but we should be able to send out the communication soon. No, this communication, so he's asking when the formal communication will come out about the support policy, so he can communicate it to his leadership team. Yeah, those policies are there, but I don't know whether we'll be sending out a specific communication to the customer or not. Any other question? Yes? Sorry, I couldn't get the last portion. So you.
So like a matrix or a breakdown, where we can then help our business partners understand why they need.
Okay, so I think the question is the difference between simplified UI and the standard interface. Is a breakdown we can give to you so that you can work with your partners to explain why they should get. Shankar, do we have anything like that in the documentation? But it's a good feedback. We'll probably post it somewhere in the support website to give the differences so that you can make that decision or work with your partner. Yes, yes. Yeah, we will. We'll definitely update that.
The easy answer to that is all the new functionality we're going to backport to the cloud. Right? You want validate sessions, you want to be on this.
We can tell them that, but you know how they.
Yes, sir. So our 11.2.0 we will support all third-party support. So whatever the support we have on PS4, which is, I don't think we support Chrome. Chrome is supported only and simplified. We'll continue to do that, but we will support like standard IE and Firefox browsers, and we will update those browser support as well. So as IE and Firefox comes with a new browser, we'll certify those. No, actually, I have uploaded mine in my presentation should be there. Yeah, my uploaded last week. So, any other question? Yeah. Any other question? All right then. Thanks a lot, folks. Thanks for joining us. You have a wonderful week ahead of you.